Good evening, sentinels of the night and the steadfast guardians of the Mr. Magazine community. You have navigated the chaotic currents of the internet to arrive at the sanctuary of deep analysis. Here, we do not merely glance at the headlines, we dissect the anatomy of the human heart when it is placed under the most extreme pressure. We are here to separate the PR strategy from the raw, bleeding truth. Before we open the heavy dossier on tonight's seismic event, a story involving a midnight emergency, a frantic drive, and a vigil that has reignited the hopes of millions, I must ask you to perform the sacred rituals of our order. Verify that you are subscribed. Ensure the notification bell is ringing in harmony with our uploads. And, for those who wish to move from the gallery to the inner circle of truth seekers, I invite you to click the join button. Your patronage is the shield that allows us to speak on the unspeakable. Tonight, we turn our gaze to the phenomenon that is Mert Ramazan Demir and Afra Saraçoğlu. For months, the status of their relationship has been a puzzle wrapped in an enigma. But last night, the puzzle was solved not by a press release, but by a crisis. In the dead of night, when the masks of stardom are taken off and the cameras are usually off, a phone rang. And the reaction to that phone call has told us more about the bond between these two actors than 1,000 interviews ever could. If you are ready to witness the anatomy of a midnight rescue and the raw vulnerability of a leading man stripped of his armor, press the like button now. Let the sirens wail. To understand the magnitude of what transpired, we must set the scene. It was the witching hour, that time of night when silence usually reigns over the city of Istanbul. Mert Ramazan Demir, the man whose face graces billboards and screens across the globe, was asleep. In sleep, he is not the golden boy, he is just a man. But the tranquility was violently interrupted by the shrill, persistent ring of a telephone. According to sources familiar with the incident, this was not a casual call. It was a harbinger of distress. The voice on the other end conveyed news concerning the health of Afra Saraçoğlu. The specifics of the medical emergency remain shrouded in the privacy that every patient deserves, but the severity was communicated instantly. What happened next is the stuff of cinema, yet it was painfully real. There was no hesitation. There was no calling a manager to approve a statement. There was no time taken to dress the part of the superstar. Reports indicate that Mert left his residence immediately. He did not wait for a driver. He did not wait for the morning. Driven by a primal instinct to protect and to be present, he rushed out into the night. One of the most touching and discussed details of the night is the attire. Eyewitnesses report that Mert Ramazan Demir arrived at the hospital in his pajamas. This detail, seemingly trivial, is profoundly significant. In an industry where image is currency, where every public appearance is curated and styled, appearing in sleepwear is an act of ultimate vulnerability. It signifies that in that moment, Mert Ramazan Demir the brand ceased to exist. Only Mert, the human being, remained. He reportedly drove straight to the hospital, his mind likely racing faster than the engine. Upon arrival, his demeanor was described not as composed, but as anxious. The cool facade was gone. Witnesses describe a man who practically ran through the entrance, his eyes scanning for the medical team, his body language screaming urgency. This is the side of celebrity we rarely see. We are used to the red carpets and the award speeches. We are not used to the terrified young man running down a sterile hospital corridor at 3 a.m., terrified for the well-being of someone he holds dear. It humanizes him in a way that no role ever could. It strips away the distance between the idol and the audience, reminding us that fear is the great equalizer. Once inside the hospital, the atmosphere shifted from kinetic energy to agonizing stillness. Mert took his place at Afra Saraçoğlu's bedside. The medical team monitored her closely, but the eyes of the hospital staff, and the few fortunate witnesses, were on Mert. He remained in constant contact with the doctors, demanding updates, listening intently to every fluctuation in her condition. His expression was described as tired but determined. It created the atmosphere of a scene from a movie. A silent film where the dialogue is unnecessary because the emotions are written in bold font on the actors' faces. Some sources reported seeing a visible physical reaction, a deep exhale, a slumping of the shoulders, when he was finally allowed to see her and confirmed she was stable. It was the relief of a man who had been holding his breath since the phone rang. This vigil, this refusal to leave her side, became the emotional anchor of the night. He did not just drop in for a visit, he stayed. He waited. He endured the uncertainty. And in doing so, he rekindled the belief in the depth of their connection. While the drama unfolded in the quiet antiseptic halls of the hospital, a different kind of storm was brewing in the digital sphere. As news of the incident leaked, as it always does in the age of smartphones, social media exploded. The interpretation of the event varied. Some users saw it as the act of a true friend, a testament to a platonic bond that has survived the pressures of fame and breakup rumors. Others, however, interpreted the event as the rekindling of a secret love affair. They argued that you do not run to the hospital in your pajamas at 3 a.m. for just anyone. You do that for the person who holds a piece of your soul. Entertainment websites and television programs headlined the incident as a dramatic midnight rescue and romantic solidarity. The narrative shifted from "Are they together?" to "Look how much he cares." It was a PR pivot that no money could buy because it was authentic. By noon, the secret was out. The crowd outside the hospital transformed into what can only be described as a small fairground. Tabloid journalists with their long lenses, curious fans hoping for a glimpse, and the general public drawn by the commotion gathered at the gates. This contrast is striking. Inside the room, there was the hush of recovery, the beeping of monitors, and the quiet intimacy of two people navigating a health scare. Outside, there was the flash of cameras and the roar of speculation. Mert Ramazan Demir became the guardian of the gate. His presence served as a buffer between Afra and the chaos outside. The media coverage generated headlines that will be archived in the history of Turkish pop culture. Mert Ramazan Demir stayed at the hospital until dawn for Afra Saraçoğlu became one of the most read stories of the day. It wasn't just news, it was a romantic archetype coming to life. It was the night keeping watch. It was the hero refusing to sleep until the heroine was safe. We must pause here to analyze the core question that this night has raised. Is this friendship, or is it love? Experts point out that such sudden events often act as clarifying agents. They burn away the trivialities and reveal what is essential. For months, there have been rumors of distance, of breakups, of professionalism. But in a crisis, the body does not lie. The feet do not lie. Mert's feet took him to Afra. Some social media users interpreted the incident as a romantic drama, playing out in real time. They see traces of years of friendship and perhaps even a hidden love that never truly extinguished. The relief felt by the hospital staff upon seeing Mert's dedication suggests that this bond is palpable to anyone in the room. It is a chemistry that exists even in silence. Although the hospital's official statement regarding Afra Saraçoğlu's condition is limited to stable, the subtext is clear. She is safe, and she is loved. We have analyzed the run, the pajamas, and the vigil. Now, I must turn the mirror toward you, the empathetic heart of the Mr. Magazine community. This story forces us to confront our own definitions of loyalty. My question to you is this: do you believe that such a visceral reaction, running in the middle of the night, is proof that the romantic relationship never ended? Or is it possible for a former love to evolve into a friendship so deep that it mimics the intensity of romance without the label? Pause the video. Scroll down to the comments. Share your philosophy. Do you have someone you would run for in your pajamas? Your answers are the threads that weave this community together. As we close the dossier on this dramatic night, let us carry with us the image of Mert Ramazan Demir sitting in that hospital room. The sun has risen. The crisis has passed. But the image of his devotion remains. This sudden and emotional night has become a major news story, not because of the scandal, but because of the humanity. It reminds us that at the end of the day, when the lights go out and the director yells cut, all we have is each other. We will continue to watch, to analyze, and to wait for the official statements. But the actions of that night speak louder than any press release ever could. If this deep dive into the heart of the crisis resonated with you, please like the video. Subscribe to Mr. Magazine for stories that go deeper than the headlines. And click join to help us keep the lights on in the lighthouse of truth.